Hey everybody! I brought back Tenpenny Parks with me from GenCon and I excitedly got it on the table to play because it's got tons of theme and I really like a good worker placement game. So I was excited to try this out and there were 3 things specifically that I like about Tenpenny Parks from Thunderworks Games. In Tenpenny Parks, players take on the role of an amusement park designer. And players get this board that has trees and special images built on. Those are bonuses if you place your attractions on top of them, but the trees get in your way. So there's already this immediate, incentive to cover up bonuses, but trees that block areas where you can place those attractions unless you go to cut down trees on the main board. There's this beautiful carnival wheel that has all these different places where you can go for actions on the exterior and then builder spaces on the interior. And this is a worker placement game where players have just a few workers to go place out to cut down trees, to clear the area for attractions, to go and buy stands like concession stands and other really cool features that are just little onesies. They're like 1x1 squares that you get to fit into those little nooks and crannies that fit perfectly for you. You can also just go to the bank and get some money. You can also add an entire strip of land to either side of your board and continue building that, but it's pretty costly, but it gives you more space to grow and place out those features. Now, when players want to go and build, they place their worker on the space in front of the tile that you want to build, and there is a very specific attraction for each of the colors. And each of the colors are going to give you a variety of shapes and sizes and costs and bonuses and benefits. And you have to really take into account that, but also the wheel that is changeable, it's movable. Every round, the start player is going to move the wheel where they want the wheel to be. That gives people a bonus, like essentially a deduction in buying something in the center, or an extra added cost to things. It's super, super cool. I really like the way that builder wheel works. And when you place a worker in a round, down in a space, nobody else can go in that space until the next round. So it really restricts who can buy a particular type of building every round, which is 1 person. Now there are 5 rounds in this game and players are going to place their workers out, doing all of those actions that I mentioned before. Once that's done, there is going to be an evaluation phase of all of the excitement, the joy, the thrills, the awe that people feel when they go to your particular park. And then the new round will start essentially. So the 3 things that I really like about this game, the first one I want to talk about is just the quality, the components, and the artwork. I think that all balled into one is a really big draw for this game because it looks good, it feels good, it has just some really lovely artwork. And so when you pull out all of these tiles, you're going to see the victory points. They're really pretty. They're different sizes for the different value, 1 or 5. They have the laurel fronds, which is super classic, but it just also fits with the look of the game. The dollar bills are nice and thick and chunky, and so you're not dealing with dollar bills and you're not dealing with coins, so they're rectangular, but they just feel nice and they look nice. And so you never really have an insane amount of money on hand at the end of a round, so you have like some 1s and some 5s, and that's really pretty much all you need. But the money, really, really nice. And in addition, it's the same material, the same thickness, with those attractions, and the attractions are color-coded. They also have some really cool features to look at, and their names are super fun. Every single attraction has a unique name. I mean, these things are just super fun and flair. Now, on the central board, there is this big tent, and it is meant to be like a nice, 3D feature of the game that, of course, you get to spin around and put where you want if you're that first player. And it might be hard to see on the other side, but there is a pattern of the 6 numbers that are around the tent. So once you know that you have your -2, -1, 0, 0, +1, +2, you can count, you can figure it out. You don't have to actually see the number that's behind it because you know what's behind it. So it's not that hard. And it has a really nice like 3D oomph to it, which is nice. And it's sturdy. So I really like that as well. And so I think the artwork has just like spot on flair to the game. It has that carnival. It has that, rides and attractions feel for a fair and for an amusement park. It's just all there. I also love those 3D trees. They are wooden. They're a nice forest green color, so they look good. And they just stand upright on your player board, and it gives it this real feel to it. Like when you cut down the trees, they're gone, literally. And when they're there, they feel like trees. And so I think the trees are just another wonderful 3D feature, and it's made of really great components, and the color is just perfect. Now, the second thing that I like about Tenpenny Parks is the 3 tracks that are at the bottom of the main central board. And what it does is it tracks the emotions of all of those people coming to everyone's parks. And so you've got this continual progress, this marking of your thrill, awe, and joy. And these 3 tracks will give a special bonus opportunity to the person who's furthest ahead. And I love that so much because those opportunities are really, really good. So the 3 things that they offer. The thrill track allows you to take an extra action worker, which means you don't get to just play with 3 workers for your action placement, worker action placement in the round. You get a 4th, which is an entire 4th action, which is exactly what you might need. That is insanely awesome. But the penalty for that, the price for being first, is you have to go back a step on that track. So you're kind of losing a little bit of progress going into the next round, but you get a cool bonus. The player who has the furthest in awe gets the opportunity to either be first player and take the shovel, or they can take a victory point and then give the shovel to the player to their right, which means that they're going to go second. So again, that one even gives you a choice, which is really cool because you may not want to go first because you don't need to turn the carousel, but you might want to get a point because every point matters and give it to the player to your right so you still get to go early on in turn order. It's up to you. And then lastly, that red joy track is the coolest because that benefit is getting $3. And that's getting $3 going into the next phase where you can essentially buy victory points based on the attractions that you've invested in. So getting a lot of money without having to go to the banker as one of your worker actions is huge. It is so important. And not only that, for all of these tracks, not only does the first place person get something, in a 3 and 4 player game, the second place person gets a victory point. You get a victory point for coming in second, and I love that. It's just the icing on the cake because, yeah, there's a penalty for being first and getting a really cool bonus, but let's say you were right there. Let's say you were directly underneath them. It's in a stack. The top disc on this track will get first. Then it goes to the second, and then it goes backwards down the track. So you might have actually been on the same space as the winner. You get a point, which is good. I like it. And I love these tracks because you are constantly getting these track bonuses for joy, thrill, and awe from building amusement attractions, from building rides, but also by investing in those concession stands, those 1x1s. And we were just fighting over those in the last couple of rounds to just get one more step on that thrill, awe, or joy track. And it was so cutthroat. It was awesome. The third thing I like about Tenpenny Parks is your personal area, this engine that you're building, that you are investing in, and you've got your own little square, and you're putting down all your polyominoes and your rides and your amusements and your attractions, and it's just your space. nobody else can do anything in that space. It's just you, and you're trying to puzzle it out, and you're trying to make sure that you cut down the trees you need to before you get to it, or you might want to conserve those trees because you might have a personal objective that encourages you not to cut down those trees. And it's just loads of fun. I mean, there's just something lovely about, that polyomino, that Tetris, that barren park. You just have this feel. I mean, Arc Nova has it, where you've got pens with animals and you're putting them into your little hex board. There's something just delightful about doing it and watching other people do it, because their parks look so different and they have this totally, unique approach to it. And so for me, I love that I can have attractions doing what I want them to do and grabbing concessions, and I look over at Lewis and all of his attractions are getting him money. He has money investment, and I'm investing more in victory points, and I'm wondering, is this going to pay off at the end? Is this going to be, the thing that really, tips me over the edge, or is his money generating rides and attractions going to give him the advantage? But all of those rides and all the shapes of the attractions are different. Small, medium, big, taking up space, having holes in them, all sorts of really cool stuff. So I love that puzzle feature with the polyominoes in your personal player area that, acts essentially as your engine builder for rounds to come. I just think it's loads of fun. And again, I can't say enough good things about the quality of this product and the quality of the trees. The trees are like a big feature to it as well. And the trees just stand on your pieces and your extensions for your board. This is just a lovely game, and I can't wait to share it with others to really see how it scales from 2 to 4, but also what it feels like to play that solo game, because there is a solo variant and a scale that you can kind of judge yourself against, and so you can just puzzle this together yourself and have a great time with the solo variant for Tenpenny Parks. Thank you so much for joining me for the 3 things that I like about this super cool new hot game that I got at GenCon. Thank you again, Thunderworks Games, and I will see you again later. Bye, everybody.